last year in December, there was an agreement on an interim for staff level agreement between the IMF and ourselves. But what we're really working towards too is a formal program which is approved by the board of the IMF, and the discussion that we've been ongoing now between the IMF team and ourselves was to look at the economic parameters and see whether we are on track to be able to deliver something that can convince the board that Zambia deserves this assistance. But we also are aware that for them to go to the board, given Zambia's unsustainable debt situation, something needs to be done to restructure our debt. And the IMF, together with the others, have been assisting us to organize this discussion with the creditors, the people that we owe. And this has taken some time, longer than what we had envisaged. But the good thing is now the major creditors, in fact, maybe all of them, I don't know, they are now on board and ready to start the discussions. This is what is happening tomorrow. So, as I said yesterday, I think this brings us closer towards the IMF program, which of course comes with a lot of benefits to the country. The signaling effect, which demonstrates that Zambia is now managing affairs better, Another thing, of course, is the financial assistance, and I emphasize this is subsidized financial assistance that we shall obtain from the IMF if the board clears it. So I want to thank the IMF team led by Madam Saye for visiting us, and the team that has been here negotiating with us. Now, some of you have been saying, you said you're going to deliver this by end of June. I have no apologies to make about that, in the sense that this was an inspired date. We say to ourselves, by this time we want to get this out of the way. It was an ambitious one, given where we are coming from in the past. The fact that we have missed that date for no fault of our own, that should not be the main story that we should be talking about, to say they've missed the target. The main story now should be, look, there are difficulties, not caused by themselves, getting to debt relief, but the good news is that now everybody is on board to start talking about debt relief. For me, that is more important than saying they missed the date. The more important thing is that we are now getting closer to debt relief. We are getting closer to the IMF program. That is the big story, and it is progress. Once again, Madam Saye, welcome. I'm sure the members of the press are eagerly waiting to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you.
Are these microphones close enough to her, or you? Most of the hands to
Well, thank you very much, Minister, and a very good morning to everyone. It's for me truly a pleasure to be here in Lusaka, to engage with the Minister, of course, and I was privileged to have met His Excellency the President also yesterday, to talk about the economic outlook for Zambia, the challenges that Zambia has been facing and responding to very, very well in our view. We were able to, of course, talk about the progress that Zambia has made. in navigating this very difficult period for many countries across the world, faced with unanticipated new shocks in addition to the pandemic. What is going on in Ukraine, of course, having a major impact on a number of countries around the world. And I was able to commend the authorities for the progress they've made in taking forward their ambitious homegrown reform program, beginning with the stabilization that is essential to put in place the foundations for actually seeking to have more robust growth. And Zambia, compared to the rest of the world, is experiencing lower inflation. Inflation has been decelerating, which is absolutely not the case in most countries. So goes to the fact that the authorities have been very focused on managing appropriately and getting that result, lower levels of inflation that has a positive impact on the poorest in society and the prices that they're facing. So we really want to commend the authorities for that effort, and of course the efforts that they've been taking ahead around the budget. The budget we were able to discuss with the minister, also the impressive performance we've seen in the first quarter, including how the social safety program has been executed, and for compared to the past where budgeted resources for a social safety net that mitigates the impact of policy reform on the poorest was not being disbursed. This time around, we see that the budget has been successful in getting those resources to people to make a difference in their lives. The fuel subsidy reform that the authorities have been, of course, pursuing has made the space in the budget to be able to finance more health, more education in the rural areas, hugely important for the vast majority of Zambians. And we really want to commend the authorities for those efforts as well. As the minister mentioned, we of course talked quite a bit about the forthcoming fund supported program for Zambia that we've been discussing for some time now. And we are very encouraged by the fact that the creditors are now going to be beginning their deliberations beginning tomorrow. And we will continue to encourage the creditors committee for Zambia to work expeditiously to come to an agreement on the nature of the debt relief they will provide Zambia to be able to allow the IMF to then go to its board. We will work very diligently on our side to make sure that once those creditor assurances are in place, without which we cannot go to the board, once they're provided, we will speed up and make sure that that program is approved as soon as possible. And that will then allow Zambia, of course, to continue to benefit also from additional financing from others and to forward its ambitious reform program with a view to really improving the lives of all Zambians. We're very, very eager to continue to support the authorities in that regard. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we'll take two questions. Yes, we'll start with you, and then please proceed.
Madam Kali, my name is Kawanda Chulu from the Zambia Daily. In the event of a negative outcome from the creditors meeting, is there another alternative program which the IMF can put Zambia to pick up on track?
We anticipate that the creditors will be very much encouraged by the efforts that the Zambian authorities themselves are making to deal with their debt sustainability problems. And those efforts we see clearly in the fiscal efforts that Zambia is already engaged in, the budget that is being implemented and adhered to, that is made for the stabilization I mentioned earlier, and of course the fiscal space to provide resources to the neediest. And I think the creditors will be comforted by the fact that Zambia is doing its part and will be very much motivated to provide the debt relief that is needed for Zambia to return its debt to a sustainable level. So we're very optimistic about that. We're not anticipating that creditors will not provide debt relief to Zambia.
Thank you. Chris? Kindly speak up.
Yes, the minister said the delay should not be seen as a major setback. Following this slide today, when do we see the conclusion of discussions and the IMF program? What is the new timeline?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I give you a new timeline, then again next time you say you missed it. All right. The answer to that is that it will depend a lot on the discussions that starting tomorrow. But I believe that from everything that we've learned, these are not discussions where you must agree with each and every creditor. It is just, as I understand it, a general assurance by these official creditors that they will provide support to Zambia. So I don't think that it will take more than, if I were to put my head on the chopping neck, I don't think those discussions should take more than a month to be. But then we also have now another technicality that is a reason, which is that even if the discussions go very quickly, say within a month, the IMF boards, as I've learned this morning, number one, they are going on summer recess. In other words, they will not be there. They are going for holidays. And number two, there's some time that is required for the management to deliver the papers to the board members. Time must be allowed from the delivery of the papers to the time when the board actually sits to discuss. So the tentative dates that I've been hearing, if I may say what I'm hearing, is that we are talking about August, September, thereabout. Basically because of what I've indicated. We're coming to the discussions with the creditors late. Then there's time that we must give for the creditors to discuss. Then there's time that must be allowed for the board of the IMF to prepare the paperwork and do the discussions. So August, September, don't get me chopped on the head if I fail to deliver on that date. But remember what I'm saying. It's pointless to sit there and allow things to drift. You must have ambition. You must set yourself timelines and to do as well as you can to drive towards those timelines. If you miss the date, too bad, but at least there's something that you are working to, not just drifting around. We don't work like that. So, but I think we are all cheered by the fact that what we've been waiting for, at some point, of course, there was a lot of concern. Are all the creditors going to, are all the official creditors going to come along? But I think we are beyond that hurdle now, and that's what gives us a lot of hope and optimism that sooner rather than later we'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your thoughts and your concluding remarks, please.
No, just to say, building on what the minister has just said, of course, that one should very much be encouraged and motivated by the fact that Zambia's official creditors are getting together for the first time as a group tomorrow to discuss the debt relief they'll provide to Zambia. A big step forward. A step forward, as I explained before, motivated, certainly warranted by the effort Zambia itself has made to address its problems. And creditors will now deliberate under the optimistic scenario of them coming to closure in the near future. The minister is correct that we should be anticipating potentially a board discussion in early September, we think, is the optimistic best possible date, given the constraints, given the need to give time to the creditors to deliberate, to come up with a firm assurances of the financing they'll provide Zambia, and then for us to get to our board. Getting the document distributed to the board will be another big step forward. That's the next big step forward. And as the minister mentioned, that's possible certainly, we think by early August, end of July, early August, we can distribute, if things go well with the creditor group, we can do that. And then we can anticipate potentially a board meeting in September. But as I said before, that depends on the creditors, the bilateral creditors, making the progress they need to make expeditiously. And we will continue to do our part to encourage them to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll bring the program to a close and allow our